A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad. Kama sallaita ala Ibrahima wa ala ali Ibrahima. Innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad. Kama barakta ala Ibrahima wa ala ali Ibrahima. Innaka Hamidum Majid. रब शरह ली सदरी व यस्सिर ली अमरी वहलुल उक़दतम मिन लिसानी यफ़क़हू क़ौली रब्बना ज़िदना इल्मा या मुक़ल्लिबुल क़ुलूब सब्बित क़ल्बी अला दीनिक. Surah Al-Imran, and today we will do the ninth part of the surah, in which we will complete from verse number 176 till 189. وَلَا يَحْزُنْكَ الَّذِينَ يُسَارِعُونَ فِي الْكُفْرِ إِنَّهُمْ لَنْ يَضُرُّوا اللَّهَ شَيْئًا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ أَلَّا يَجْعَلَ لَهُمْ حَظًّا فِي الْآخِرَةِ وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ عَظِيمٌ. Let those who hasten into disbelief not grieve you, they can never harm Allah in the least. Allah wishes to assign no portion for them in the hereafter, and for them shall there be a dreadful chastisement. 177. Inna lazina nashtarau kufra bil imani lan yazurrullaha shay'a walahum azabun alim. Verily, those who purchase disbelief for Iman can never harm Allah in the least, and for them shall be a painful punishment. Verse number 178. وَلَا يَحْسَبَنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَنَّمَا نُمْلِي لَهُمْ خَيْرٌ لِأَنفُسِهِمْ إِنَّمَا نُمْلِي لَهُمْ لِيَزْدَادُوا إِثْمًا وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ مُهِينٌ. Those who disbelieve should never think that the respite we give them is good for them. We grant them reprieve only so that they increase in sin, and for them is a most disgracing punishment. Although the verse is addressed to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, all Muslims are intended. Allah comforts the Muslims, telling them not be distressed by those who excel in kufr and attempt to destroy Islam at any given opportunity. The Muslims should never fear any harm from them, nor from their allies. Narrated by Ruhul Mani, Volume 4, page 133. Let those who hasten into disbelief not grieve you. The Tabi Hazrat Mujahid Rahmullah says that this verse refers to those munafiqeen who did not participate in the Battle of Uhud. According to Hazrat Hassan Rahmullah, it refers to the kuffar in general, even though it was revealed specifically with regard to the munafiqeen. Irrespective of what the kuffar do against the Muslims, Muslims should never allow it to harm them in the least. They will leave no stone unturned to harm Islam and hasten to do so, but they can never harm Allah in the least. The author of Ruhul Mani writes that this verse means that they can never harm the friends of Allah. According to other commentators, it means that they can never harm the deen of Allah. The kuffar have never ceased and will never cease their efforts to harm and destroy Islam. But the Muslim should never be grieved about this and always place his trust in Allah, who is the best of helpers. Allah wishes to assign no portion for them in the hereafter, and for them shall there be a dreadful chastisement. In this world, the kuffar are under the illusion that they are in good stead without accepting Islam. However, this shall be short-lived, for they will meet a grievous punishment in the hereafter. Verily, those who purchase disbelief for Iman can never harm Allah in the least, and for them shall there be a painful punishment. This verse means that the kuffar choose kufr instead of Iman. Repetition of the fact that they can never harm Allah in the least is for emphasis. Other commentators mention that the repetition is to allude to the fact that these people harm only themselves by their misdeeds, earning for themselves the dreadful chastisement of the hereafter. Those who disbelieve should never think that the respite we give them is good for them. We grant them reprieve only so that they increase in sin, and for them is a most disgracing punishment. The kuffar think that their affluence and favorable conditions in this world are in sign that Allah is pleased with them. These conditions are merely a form of respite for them from Allah so that they may excel in their sins. Eventually, when these reach the limits, Allah sees them and they are subjected to the extremes of punishment. This subject is referred to in numerous verses of the Quran. In Surah Araf, Allah says, "We shall lead on those who deny Allah's verses to an extent that they do not know. I shall grant them respite. My plan is indeed very mighty." Verse number 182 and 183. In the verse of Surah Tawbah, Allah says, "So do not let their wealth and their children impress you. Allah intends to punish them with these in this worldly life, and that their souls depart while they are disbelievers." Verse number 55. The Muslim should also take heed from this verse. An abundance of wealth and worldly possession do not mean that Allah is pleased with a person. Allah even gives them things to those whom He dislikes. In fact, He sometimes gives them more or if of it than He does to His loved ones. The reason for this is that they utilize these means to excel in their sins. Then Allah grabs hold of them most forcefully and casts them into chastisement. For this reason, Allah grants many of His enemies much more than He gives His sincere bondsmen. Those who are unfamiliar with this divine wisdom express surprise at this phenomena, and some even go to the extent of objecting. The pious person who earns halal wealth shall experience much blessings in his wealth, even though it be a little. On the other hand, the person who acquires an abundance of wealth or unlawfully, while he himself increases in sin, leading him to kufr, finds that such wealth has no blessings. Allah is merely giving him respite. Hazrat Abu Huraira radiallahu ta'ala narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, "Never envy the fortune of a sinner, for you know not what calamity he is to face after his death. By Allah, there is a killer for him that shall never die, that is Jahannam." Narrated by Mishkatul Masabi, page 447. Now, verse number 179. ما كان الله ليذر المؤمنين على ما أنتم عليه حتى يميز الخبيث من الطيب وما كان الله ليطلعكم على الغيب ولكن الله يجتبي من رسله من يشاء فآمنوا بالله ورسله وإن تؤمنوا وتتقوا فلكم أجر عظيم. Allah does not wish to leave the believers in the same condition that you are in till the separates the pure from the impure. Allah does not inform you of the unseen, but Allah chooses whom He places from His messenger. So believe in Allah and His messenger, and if you believe and adopt taqwa, yours shall be a grand reward. The Munafiqeen used to mix with the Muslims and claim to be Muslims as well. They even participated in the Salah with the Muslims. In this way, it became impossible to discern who was a Munafiq, hypocrite, and who was not. In this verse, Allah declares that He shall not leave the Muslims as they are, but shall bring such trials and tribulations to pass whereby the impure munafiqeen shall be separated from the pure Muslims. At times of adversity, true colors shine forth from people. Allah does not inform you of the unseen. This verse explains that it is against the wisdom of Allah that He merely informs. His servants of the inner hypocrisy lurking within the hearts of the munafiqeen. He exposes this in a practical manner by subjecting them to test. When the occasion arises from them to spend their lives and wealth In the cause of deen, they shrink away and desert, as was witnessed as Ohod. At such time, their hypocrisy is also evident by their words when they make statement of kufr. If Allah had informed the Muslims of the munafiqeen, they could have easily denied it, demanding evidence. However, when they physically separate themselves from the Muslims on such occasions of trial, they can have no excuse to tender. But Allah chooses whom He please from the messenger. He grants the knowledge of the unseen to those of His Nabi alayhi salam whom He wills. Allah directly informed His beloved Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam of all those who were munafiqeen, and these were also manifested at times of adversity. In this way, they were disgraced before everyone. Narrated by Ruhul Mani, Volume 4, page 137. Allah then states, so believe in Allah and His Messenger, and if you believe and adopt taqwa, your shall be a grand reward. Verse number 180. وَلَا يَحْسَبَنَّ الَّذِينَ يَبْخَلُونَ بِمَا آتَاهُمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ هُوَ خَيْرٌ لَهُمْ بَلْ هُوَ شَرٌ لَهُمْ سَيُطَوَّقُونَ مَا بَخِلُوا بِهِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ وَلِلَّهِ مِيرَاثُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاللَّهُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ خَبِيرٌ. Those who are miserly with what Allah has given them of His bounty should never think that this is best for them. Indeed, it is worse for them that which they hoard shall soon be their caller on the day of judgment. To Allah belongs the legacy of the heavens and the earth, and Allah is informed of what you do. The kuffar dislike spending in the case of Allah as much as they dislike sacrificing their lives. Allah addresses such people saying, those who are miserly with what Allah has given them of His bounty should never think that this is best for them. Indeed, it is worse for them. The consequence of their stinginess shall present itself before them on the day of judgment, when that which they hoard shall soon be their caller of the day of judgment. Hazrat Abu Huraira radiallahu ta'ala narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allah shall transform the wealth of those who do not give their zakat into a bald snake on the day of judgment. The baldness of the snakes due to the intensity of its venom. This snake shall be placed around his neck like a collar, and gripping hold of the sides of his mouth, it will tell him, I am your wealth, and I am your treasure. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam recited the verses above, that is, those who are miserly with what Allah has given them, narrated by Bukhari, volume 1, page 188. To Allah belongs the legacy of the heavens and the earth. Everything belongs to Allah, who is the true owner of all things. None is partner to Him in this. It is foolish for a person not to spend the wealth Allah has given him in the way He has ordained. And Allah is informed of what you do. All acts of generosity and those of miserliness are seen by Allah, and He shall confer retribution. Verse number 181. لَقَدْ سَمِعَ اللَّهُ قَوْلَ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ فَقِيرٌ وَنَحْنُ أَغْنِيَاءُ سَنَكْتُبُ مَا قَالُوا وَقَتْلَهُمُ الْأَنْبِيَاءَ بِغَيْرِ الْحَقِّ وَنَقُولُ ذُوقُوا عَذَابَ الْحَرِيقِ. Allah had undoubtedly heard the statement of those who say, surely Allah is poor and we are wealthy. Soon we shall record what they say and their unwarranted slaying of the Anbiya, and we will tell them, taste the punishment of the blaze. 182. ذَلِكَ بِمَا قَدَّمَتْ أَيْدِيكُمْ وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ لَيْسَ بِظَلَّامٍ لِلْعَبِيدِ. This is on account of that which your own hand presented, and Allah is no oppressor to His bondsmen. Verse number 183. الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ أَهِدَ عَلَيْنَا أَلَّا نُؤْمِنَ لِرَسُولٍ حَتَّى يَأْتِيَانَا بِقُرْبَانٍ تَأْكُلُهُ النَّارُ قل قد جاءكم رسل من قبلي بالبينات وبالذي قلتم فلما قتلتموهم إن كنتم صادقين. The one who say, verily Allah has undertaken from us that we do not believe in any Nabi till he brings an offering that will be consumed by a fire. Tell them, indeed, numerous Nabis have come to you before me with clear signs as well as with that which you speak of. So why do you slay them if you are indeed truthful? 184. فإن كذبوك فقد كذب رسل من قبلك جاءوا بالبينات والزبر والكتاب المنير. So if they deny you, then remember that they have denied many Nabis before you who had come to them with clear signs, scriptures, and the illuminated book. A narration of Hazrat Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu is recorded in Lubabun Nakul, page 61, wherein he says that once Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu come to the school of the Jews where he saw many people gathered around a person by the name of Finhas. Upon seeing Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu, Finhas remarked, O Abu Bakr, we have no need for Allah, but he needs us. Astaghfirullah. If he was independent, why does he ask us for loans? Your Nabi tells us that Allah needs a loan. On hearing this, Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu became infuriated and slapped Finhas. The Jews went to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and complained to him about the conduct of Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam summoned Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu and asked him what had happened. He said that Finhas called Allah poor and said that they were wealthy. When Finhas denied this, Allah revealed the above verse. It has also been reported from Hazrat Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu that when the verse "Who shall lend to Allah a good loan" was revealed, the Jews came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, "O Muhammad, it seems as if your Rabb has become poor, that he begs from people." On this occasion, Allah revealed the verse. Allah had undoubtedly heard the statement of those who say, "Surely Allah is poor and we are wealthy." It is evident that these people are blind not to perceive that Allah was referring to charity in this verse. Allah shall repay the charitable ones with a grand reward in the hereafter. It is for this reason that Allah refers to it as a loan. Since everything belongs to Allah, it is liberty to instruct His servants to spend all their wealth without promising repayment. He is totally independent and does not require anything. The Jews, in their ignorance, could not understand that Allah needs no favor from anyone. Soon we shall record what they say in their books of deeds. These full statements of theirs shall be preserved in writing, and on the strength of this shall they be punished. Besides this blasphemous utterness, they perpetrated much more severe sins in the past, such as their unwarranted slaying of the Anbiya alayhi salam. Although this vile act was carried out by their forefathers, the Jews to come later supported this action and saw no harm in it. For this reason, it will be entered into their records as well, and they will suffer Jahannam due to their disbelief and evil actions. There they shall be told, "Taste the punishment of the blaze. This is on account of that which your own hand presented, and Allah is no oppressor to His bondsmen." Thereafter, Allah makes reference to yet another profanity of the Jews. They were the ones who say, "Verily Allah has undertaken from us in the Torah that we do not believe in any person who claimed to be a Nabi till he brings an offering that will be consumed by a fire. This fire from the heavens shall serve as a sign of acceptance from Allah, indicating that the person is indeed a Nabi. Allah addresses Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, "Tell them indeed numerous Nabis have come to you before me, with clear signs as well as with that which you speak of." That is, they presented the offering which was consumed by a celestial fire. This they not only refused to accept, but they murdered these Nabis of Allah alayhi salam. For this reason they are asked, "So why did you slay them if you are indeed truthful?" They merely said these things may by way of excuse because they did not want to accept the Nabi. So if they deny you, then remember that they have denied many Nabi before you who had come to them with clear signs, scriptures, and the illuminated book. This verse also consoles Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam so that he may not be despondent about the behavior of the kuffar. Their falsification is nothing new, but they did the same to all the other Nabis who came to them, even though these Anbiya alayhi salam showed them miracles and divine scriptures. Those who are not destined to believe shall never do so. Hence, every Nabi had to exercise patience. Verse number 185. Kullu nafsin zaikatul maut wa innama tuwaffuna ajurakum yawmal qiyamah wama zuhziha anin nari wa udkhilal jannata faqad faz wa mal hayatud dunya illa mataul ghurur. Every soul shall taste death, and the fact of the matter is that you will be given your rewards in full on the day of judgment. Whoever is saved from the fire and entered into the Jannah shall truly be successful. The life of this world is but an object of deceit. Whether a person is a mu'min or a kafir, death shall put an end to his life in this world. Thereafter, he will reap the rewards of whatever good he carried out. Actions will be presented before Allah, and reckoning shall take place. Allah shall preside over the reckoning, and finally, a group will be dispatched to Jannah and another to Jahannam. Whoever is saved from the fire and entered into Jannah shall truly be successful. People had defined success in numerous ways. Political leaders consider themselves to be successful, while entrepreneurs, merchants, and bankers also see themselves as successful. None consider their plight in the hereafter. According to the Allah's definition, the successful people are those who are saved from the fire of Jahannam and entered into Jannah. This verse may be directed at the Jews who, intoxicated by their influence, remain upon kufr and yet deem themselves to be successful. Because of their deviation, they hurl themselves into the fire of Jahannam, of which they are oblivious because their gaze are fixed upon the temporary gains of this world. Muslims should also derive lessons from this and never consider themselves to be unsuccessful when viewing the prosperity of the kuffar. They should be content with the knowledge that they will be entered into Jannah because of their iman and remain far from the scorching blaze of Jahannam, where the kuffar, despite all their wealth in this world, will suffer till eternity. The life of this world is but an object of deceit. The explanation of this verse can fill thousands of pages. The deceptive nature of this world can easily be witnessed by turning back the pages of history. It can be seen in the lives of those who possessed treasure, the kings and monarchs of bygone times, and those who were considered to be prosperous. The revolution and tides of change unfolded before their very eyes, clearly revealing the deception in which they floundered. This world, as described in numerous verses of the Quran, is like a plantation which was flourishing. Thereafter, it dried, and the farmers reduced it to a bare field. People constantly witness the ever changing facade of the world. yet continue to be beguiled by its apparent attraction, thinking that death shall never overcome them. They will and they live and die for its acquisition, remaining totally oblivious of the everlasting bounties and torment of the hereafter. Verse number 186. لا تبلغن في أموالكم وأنفسكم ولتسمعن من الذين أوتوا الكتاب من قبلكم ومن الذين أشركوا أذى كثيرا وإن تصبروا وتتقوا فإن ذلك من أزم الأمور. Most assuredly, you will face test in your wealth and your persons. You will be definitely hear much painful abuse from those who have been given the book before you and from those who commit idolatry. If you are patient and adopt taqwa, then surely these are from the most gallant deeds. This verse teaches the Muslims that they should never think that the hardships which they face are the last. After these, many more shall soon present themselves as tests. These tests shall affect their lives, health, and prosperity. Each should be borne with courage and perseverance. Besides these, Muslims will also be faced with various obstacles and miraculous statements from the Jews, Christians, and Mushrikeen. They shall never cease to hurl abuse to the Muslim. So he must tolerate their abuses and continue with forbearance, fortitude, and taqwa. By exercising patience, we will find comfort, and by adopting taqwa, our actions are perfected. Verse number 187. وَإِذْ أَخَذَ اللَّهُ مِيثَاقَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ لَا تُبَيِّنُنَّهُ لِلنَّاسِ وَلَا تَكْتُمُونَهُ فَنَبَذُوهُ وَرَاءَ ظُهُورِهِمْ وَاشْتَرَوْا بِهِ ثَمَنًا قَلِيلًا فَبِئْسَ مَا يَشْتَرَوْنَ. When Allah took a pledge from those given the book, saying, "You must surely expound it to mankind and not conceal it," they then threw it behind their backs and sold it at the measly price. Evil indeed was that which they sold. Verse number 188. لَتَحْسَبَنَّ الَّذِينَ يَفْرَحُونَ بِمَا آتَوْا وَيُحِبُّونَ أَن يُحْمَدُوا بِمَا لَمْ يَفْعَلُوا فَلَا تَحْسَبَنَّهُمْ بِمَفَازَةٍ مِنَ الْعَذَابِ وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. Never think that those people are safe from the fire who gloat about what they did and enjoy to be praised for what they did not do. There shall be a agonizing punishment. 189. وَلِلَّهِ مُلْكُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاللَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. To Allah belongs the sovereignty of the heavens and the earth, and Allah is able to do all things. Allah took a pledge from the scholars of the Ahlul Kitab that they must convey the scriptures to the people. They, however, failed to honor the pledge and chose to conceal the true teachings merely to gain the wealth of the world. For the petty gains of this transitory world, they sacrificed their welfare in the hereafter. The incident of this crime are many. It once occurred that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam inquired from the Jews a matter that was in the Torah. They told him something that was incorrect, concealing the truth of this matter. When they departed from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they felt exuberant that they had performed well and wished to be praised for expounding the book of Allah. On this occasion, Allah revealed the verse, "Never think that those people are safe from the fire who gloat about what they did and enjoy to the praised for what they did not do. There shall be a agonizing punishment." According to other narration, the verse was revealed with regard to those munafiqeen who did not participate in jihad and thereafter made access to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When he returned, they wished to receive the same praise accorded to the Mujahideen, even though they failed to participate. Narrated by Darul Mansoor, Volume 2, page 108. There is no discrepancy between the two incidents since the verse applies to both. It is instinctive with man that he desires to be praised, and this desire swells to the extent that he wants to receive praise even for what he did not do. The physique of a sincere Muslim servant of Allah is that he does not wish to be praised for the action he does, let alone those that he is not responsible for. Once, when Imam Abu Hanifa Rahimullah was passing through the marketplace, he overheard someone tell another that Hazrat Imam Abu Hanifa Rahimullah stood in Salah the entire night through. After this episode, the Imam began offering Salah the entire night through, saying that he disliked receiving praise for something that he did not do. To Allah belongs the sovereignty of the heavens and the earth, and Allah is able to do all things. Those who conceal the truth merely to earn the measly gains of this world should bear in mind that everything belongs to Allah, and that they should rather ask their needs from Him instead of resorting to His misdeed. The Muslims are also reminded not to look greedily at what the sinners and kuffar possesses, for the real owner of everything is Allah. He may grant you the same if He so wishes, and even much more than they have. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.